Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Neremik. Welcome back to more of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Last time we were accused for murdering Mr. Asugi, minus spoilers there, and at the very end we ran into this fine gentleman known as Herlock Sholmes. Now if you're doing nothing doing, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. But, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, Great Detective. So, you're a Great Detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see, you're German. Herlock, was it? No, I don't have a her, I mean I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue, I have sent from England especially. Ah, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles in this magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy as of late. Why, at this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of the cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? These suits observe and notice the most subtle of reactions in a subject. At a furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a term of both observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Okay. I have no words. Have you managed to deduce anything else about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of you. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, getting entries to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuff seems to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruto. Ah! The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Ooh. Okay, two facts. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came to the cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced in a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprits out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? As if the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That's the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left the dying message in Russian? In the final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was a Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garibald maybe the name of the killer, a certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be not wrong to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where he found Mr. Naruto sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you're acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze for possible hidden details. Jesus, this is derailed so hard. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? Oh, yeah, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that. Ah, yes, the train of reason that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Blah blah blah! Certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian, I don't speak Russian. Okay, your deduction just now, I think, should lead us into it. Can we talk about your deduction before? I mean, the things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the most famously accurate, troubling predicament you found yourself in. Actually, it was the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 parts? Ah yes, the most sordid details. It was very commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who could kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Well, please. And might I add, your name does not appear on this ship's passenger list, need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in this article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries really agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? What about the part where you said I was returning from Afghanistan? Also, quite loosely stated here in the article, Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in the war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is that anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. A little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thanks? I was all of its interest to me within its pages. I see no rubbish bin nearby. Sholmes, are you implying I'm your personal trash can? And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Catch right over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. That's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. There might be a picture or so. Okay, and finally, what you were just investigating. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see the victim was engaged in penning some text. A London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic, and something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know that other people do not. Yes, believe us or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what the Susato takedown is. That silence is so ominous. Susato-san, are you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Nahoda-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of this writing? Pray be precise to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese? A smattering, dear boy, a smattering! Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Nado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is listed with complicated looking characters of which I can read precisely 0. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma's diary consists of 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 AM. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 AM. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I have never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects the adjoining cabin? Yeah, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. I think we need to leave. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps we could go in there with you? No. That would be somewhat complicated. But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You like only you just said it. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. There it is. I went a whole episode without pressing the Y button. But I did it. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having laughed at my face. His sense of humour's twisted as his name. Ah, what are you standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can get. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. Okay, so we get to go have a small crumb of strolling around. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still some things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the culprit to justice. Okay, well, so we still do have a few things left to examine from last time, I think. Anything of particular interest, I think. Did we examine everything on this side? Just do a quick kind of skim, I think. Yeah, I don't think we're missing anything particular. Yeah, ball's different. There's a little bit of a thing on the floor. Missed this last time. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Okay. The glass is such a beautiful colour. It looks like a cute little Netsuki fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket with this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. Is it the colour of brick, then? Even though I don't see anything of the same colour anywhere else in this cabin. Okay. Well, we'll speak to this guy. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favour? Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry. The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape, very funny. We're in the middle of the sea, there's no chance of me escaping. Yet, you stay in this cabin until next port, then it's up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter, because I have a feeling he's going to leave once we've finished investigating everything else. So, big old samurai sword. Would expect that to be the cause of death, but no. So, that's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring us on this trip. I suppose that just shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Nah, because everyone's just down about the whole thing. And then you got this funky music going on. Hey, that's my dinner from last night! A roast chicken, it was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat this on the floor here? I'm not a dog, I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. Ooh, good question. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, there's Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Well, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Yeah, just let the guilt kill you, Ryunosuke. Get you out of this place one way or another. Tablecloth, though. Is there something hidden under there? There's nothing on this table at all. The place in the cutlery all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. Are you having me on? So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to him? No. Nice, I've still got the thing on the wardrobe to prove I was asleep, so... no one else believes me, but I do, and that's what matters. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. So I think that's everything in this room explored, except like maybe the door. Right. When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there'll be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. Oh, it's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense up and down my spine. Ugh. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabinet's frame is made of metal, and this seals together perfectly. There'll be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. Ryunosuke is not having the best day. Oh, look over there. The crewman, what do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we go try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. He looks, It's him. Is something wrong? Oh no, it's just something that's gone very, very right. I just can't shake the feeling I've seen that one of those guys before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me. It's him. Yes, what can I do for you? I recognise that face, but it can't be. Well, that confirms it. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Pretty sure this is Jail's breath scene, but, you know, sure. Right. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stops. Nearly stops, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board the ship. Again. You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Oh, it can. It can. You king. You want on some king shit, you. Right. So, what are your special orders this time then, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Don't tell me it's a secret. You can tell me. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was the Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for his overseas studies tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility?
I'm not sure, but these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it! Kazuma-san was assassinated? Obviously we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignments, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologise. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Permission to investigate. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer?
Of course not.
We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we'd need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry.
What?
Please. You've indeed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, beheaded. That stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. Ryunosuke is not having a good day. Right. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way.
What?
I'm actually trying to think of what we can present here. Okay, so it completely slips my mind, but I figured out that in Kazuma's diary he actually wrote about the vent to next door having like something coming out, and I think it's only linked to the cabin next door, and I think it's like, you know, like one vent between two rooms. So I think we need to present this. I tried going with the paper seal and I was quite confused. That's literally the only other thing I can present with like relative confidence it's right, so... What's that? It's his diary. Just before he died, he was writing something rather strange. Ooh! Okay, the puzzle and trick music's back, I like this. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band that's dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? He's so smart. You're very astute, Inspector. Well, I suppose he is an inspector. That ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band really was. What's on your hand, Hosanaga? Why have you got to stare at your fingers so intently? Alright then. Ooh! I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promised you I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asuki-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. And I'm afraid we're going to see what we can find out next time. Yeah, I know. Oh, the dreaded episode cliffhanger. But no, next time we should be able to wrap up the case with a nice little bow on top with a longer than normal episode. We'll see when that's going to come out. But no, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And hey, if you're on the edge about doing that, do it for Mr. Hope Snyder. That man, I love him to bits. But no, hopefully you enjoyed. I definitely did. I'm a little bit out of it, voice-wise, in case you couldn't tell. The volume might be all over the place on this one, I'll have to see in editing. But no, I had a load of fun. So with all that said, hope you've enjoyed, and thanks for watching, guys. My name's been Neremik, and peace out.